Tonight we're talking about grief. If you're grieving this holiday season, you're not alone. Let's do it. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Not Safe for Sunday podcast. I am Josh and joined again by Kenny. Kenny, what's up, man?
What's going on? I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, Josh, and I hope you're getting ready for the Christmas season.
Oh, you know me. You know what happens in my house during the Christmas season.
The potatoes are spudding.
Potatoes are out. Lights are up. We're doing good. We're doing good.
Nice.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. And, keeping with tradition, the decorations don't go up until the day after Thanksgiving. So
yeah, good for you,
that's
man.
how we do. I'm a traditionalist.
Did you get the creamy onions?
I can't live without those creamy onions. You know what I mean? It's a once a year tradition.
Attaboy.
So
what kind of meat did you?
I am more of a white meat type of guy, but I like the whole mix of things. Like I need a little bit of everything on that plate, and I'll be good.
Nice.
So
nice.
Great recovery.
Thanks. I didn't want to go
I like
anywhere.
white meat, but I like a little bit of everything. I'm just saying.
I didn't want it to go where it went last time. I didn't want it to get sexual.
We can't go off we cannot go off the rails. We're not allowed to go off the rails this episode. Maybe just a little.
A little bit.
Always.
Daniel, what's up, man?
What's up? I've been decorated for a couple weeks now. I did pre-Thanksgiving this year.
Okay.
Oh,
Trying to get ahead of the game.
Nice.
We squeeze in the free weekends when available. Get it done.
Attaboy.
Get it done.
What's like the earliest acceptable time to start decorating for Christmas?
Maybe post November 15th. Mid-November.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd say that's
Maybe.
acceptable.
Earliest acceptable?
I think earliest acceptable. And even that's pushing it for...
The
I think the most widely acceptable is day after Thanksgiving.
We have dove right into... We haven't decorated... we didn't decorate before Thanksgiving, but we dove right into Christmas, and I don't know how it happened, but the weekend before Veterans Day, we went to Spirit Christmas. So they turned up.
Is that already? Was already open?
Already open.
Wow.
It was the first day that they were open. And for some reason, Jeremiah wanted to go there so bad, dude. So we spent a good hour in Spirit Christmas just looking at all the animatronics.
Santa's already there?
Santa was not there yet. Santa doesn't get there until the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, see, Santa knows what's up.
Yeah, we were, but it was sad, dude.
Was it?
Because it's in the old Christmas tree shop. And I loved Christmas tree shop.
Yeah, Christmas tree was...
So it was the shell of a once great establishment.
Yeah. I would like to hear from the people that decorate on the day after Halloween.
Yeah.
Could you comment so that we can make fun of you on the next episode?
We're looking at you, Morales family.
It's a personal shot.
I wasn't even thinking about them, but hey, okay.
Me and Daniel, we're on the same.
Yeah, you guys were right there.
We're on that same line still.
Yeah, we were all over it. We were discussing earlier that Daniel and I had both experienced the fact that Dog the Bounty Hunter died 4 years ago.
He's dead. Definitely dead.
That's only you two, though, because nobody else thought or knew that. Spence?
Comments?
Right?
It's confirmed that he's alive.
Yes, he is alive.
Unequivocally not dead.
His wife died, though, and perhaps you guys conflated the...
No, dude, I ain't crossing wires.
The
Dog
issue?
the Bounty Hunter, he's dead.
I remember the memorial pictures of Dog. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you, Mandela effect. It's
Yeah.
the
No,
Mandela
I think you
effect.
guys both had the same dream.
No, listen, if you're watching or listening and you know that Dog the Bounty Hunter's dead, comment. Let us know. Say he's dead.
We're going to get sued.
Defamation.
Bring it on, Dog.
He's allegedly dead.
Bring it on.
Not good to go after a bounty hunter.
Speaking of that, though, we definitely have to line up a Mandela episode for early 2026. Mandela Effect episode for 2026 because just talking about it, you get so many people that are chiming in, even in my house, mentioning it. It's
Imagine Jake on a Mandela Effect episode.
Oh my gosh.
I'm concerned.
That's his bread and butter.
CERN.
Concern. Oh my God, CERN.
Stop it.
Oh yeah, that episode will be off the rails. That's for sure.
For sure.
Jake, what's up, man?
Nothing much. I have one question for you. How much you ate?
How much I ate?
It's 5 questions in one. How much did you eat? How much do you eat? How much do you weigh? How much did you weigh? How long did you wait? 5 questions in 1 question. How much you wait? Great question for Thanksgiving.
How much you? I gotta really break.
Jake, welcome back. Welcome back, Jake.
Thank you.
What's happening?
Dude, finding peace relaxation music probably just lost their mind. They're so happy.
Good to be back, man.
There's
Good to be
people
back.
that are clamoring for Jake to come out of the booth.
They
dude.
really are.
I am whimpering because I don't want to see what's gonna happen. What happens when Jake comes out here?
I mean, who knows?
Spencer, what's up, dude?
Man, you guys keep talking about the Mandela effect. I don't know what that means. I'm thinking about Nelson Mandela.
It is Nelson Mandela.
Oh, you never heard that before?
No.
It's named after Nelson Mandela.
So
it's a good thing.
So the Mandela effect is, it's the theory. So there's like the people remember Nelson Mandela dying when he was in prison, right?
Why? That's not.
That's because.
I don't remember.
Okay, great job, Josh. Let me take it here, okay? It's like basically like collective memory theory, like that. Like so many people have a certain memory of something happening, even though it didn't happen. So the big ones are Fruit of the Loom, the logo. Was there a cornucopia as part of that logo? Is there a cornucopia
Answer
as
now.
part of that logo?
Answer
Don't
now.
think about it.
Yes.
Answer.
I think I want to say there was, but I feel like there's not now though.
Okay, well, so that's the whole thing, is that everybody who's asked that remembers there being a cornucopia as part of that logo, but yet when you research it, there was never a cornucopia as part of that logo. Another one is the Monopoly guy. Does he have a monocle or does he not?
I've never really played Monopoly. I don't know.
Okay. Berenstein Bears.
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Does Curious George have a tail?
Is he? That's a monkey, right?
Yeah.
I would think so.
No tail.
So that's
What's
so
Darth Vader's popular phrase?
Oh, the big reveal. Like verbatim. I don't like.
What's your memory of it?
I think because I think I know what it's not, but I don't know exactly
What it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke, I am your father.
Luke, I am your father, or
it's technically
no, I am your father.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't Luke, I am your father, but I didn't know what it was.
So there is a I don't have this memory, but there's a collective memory, and this is how it started, that Nelson Mandela died in prison, which I don't know who has that collective memory, because I never thought that, but it's kind of just, that's based the origin of it. So people just take like certain things that are like accepted, and a lot of times it turns out it wasn't like that. So that's why it's called the Mandela effect.
Oh, okay.
So
that's good to know. That's something new.
Yeah, that's basically it. Jake's pulling up some stuff right now. A big one is like the Berenstein Bears. So it's pronounced Berenstein, but it's spelled Stain, Berenstain. And like you look at it now and it's like, no, that's not what it is. And then I guess it is what it is. So
yeah, there's a lot of these that really screw with me, dude. Because I mean, it hurts my brain.
So anyway, yeah, that's a Mandela
That's
effect.
the Mandela
We'll do
effect.
an episode
What's the Fruit
sometime.
Loops one?
Fruit Loops? Is it Fruit Loops with 2 O's or fruit spelled fruit? Fruit.
Oh, it's definitely
UIT.
No, it's not.
No, it's the 2 O's.
It's the 2 O's. Yeah.
Fruit Loops.
I bet Daniel falls for all these.
Dude, he definitely has the monocle.
All right, let's save it for the Mandela.
Yeah, we'll save it for the next one.
How's your Thanksgiving, Spence?
Oh, it was good. I had some of that onion casserole. What is it?
Creamed onions?
Good for
There
you.
you go.
Creamed-
There you
okay.
go. Yes, and you know what? I want to say, people came at me in the comments a little bit.
Oh, for our last episode?
It didn't feel good.
Yeah, we're gonna listen. Welcome to the club, buddy.
I thought Josh was the one who got the heat, but now
No.
Sucks to
I've
be in
been-
the hot
It's all
seat.
right.
I've been put in
It's
the hot
it's any
seat.
Democrat, Spence.
All right, now you're gonna really send them on me. Don't put me in. Don't do that.
Spencer is he did not vote Democrat, so I think
Don't do that either.
Spencer
I'm
did.
independent, I swear.
I want to be in the middle. I'm a moderate.
Listen, I'm from New Bedford. You guys be forgetting that. I'm from Westport and Dartmouth. I'm gonna call the Puerto Rican Mafia, Fat Joe. We're gonna talk to you. Okay.
That's why. It's because we're from New Bedford, dude. Mm-hmm. That's why. That's the problem.
No, it's peace and love. So I'm just joking.
That's it.
Don't be afraid.
Peace and love.
He's not joking. He's coming for you, people. Johnny,
what's up?
You never get bashed in the comment section. You only get love in the comment section.
Hey man, just gotta vote the right side.
He's a man of the people.
You fit a certain demographic, Johnny.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, dude. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was pretty good.
Are you gonna tell anybody about the incident?
I don't know. Not where I go. I don't want to tell people about that. Where I go. So that stays in the booth.
All right.
About time someone has an incident besides me.
Oh, you had the incident too?
No incident.
No incidents. Oh, okay.
No incidents. I'm incident free.
You're not allowed to have any incidents anymore.
I've reached my quota for 25.
Oh my goodness, dude.
For FY25.
FY25. It's over. We're almost done.
We're done, though, dude.
Yeah, we're all done.
We got one more episode this year, and that's it.
Yeah.
We made another year.
It's gonna be a fun one.
It's insane.
I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah.
Anybody want to tell who the Secret Santa is now?
No, I definitely don't want to spoil it.
The whole point, not to
Yeah, that's why it's called Secret.
I know Finding Peace wants Jake as a Secret
Oh
Santa.
my gosh.
That's what I heard.
I hope so.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Tonight we are we're going to discuss a topic that probably isn't very often discussed during the holiday season. When you think holidays, you think time with family, gift giving, stuff like that, and a topic that doesn't very often come up is the topic of grief during the holiday seasons. But I think it is something that can be very prevalent. It's something I've experienced myself, and I think there's a lot of people that go through grief during the holiday seasons. I think there's the highest suicide rate happens during the winter time, right, during the holiday season.
I know winter, but I think specifically during the holiday season.
So we had a listener, Daniel, who was a friend of the podcast, Andrew, right?
Yeah, Andrew Madera.
He had reached out basically wanting to discuss how to handle people that are grieving, like how he can be supportive to them, how he can be supportive to also non-believers that are grieving. I kind of took that to another level, being this time of year, dealing with grief throughout the holiday season. And I think we're going to kind of break that down and really have a really good discussion about this topic. Because it's tough. It's tough when you get together, when you have a family traditions, and you get together, and now maybe this holiday season there's some empty seats at the table.
Sure.
So I know how tough that can be, and I think it'll be something that we can really break down today. So, where do you think? First of all, where do you think Andrew? I think you had the message. Where do you think he's coming from with his part of the question?
Yeah, I mean, I think Andrew has some friends and some family who have recently suffered loss, and I think he's just been probably experiencing just having to be in that support role as somebody supporting those who are struggling with grief, and I think it's just at the forefront, but it's also one of those really practical episodes today that it's like grief is, we're all going to experience it at some point or another if we haven't already, and if you have, you're probably going to experience it again at some point because of the fact that we're relational people and we have relationships and people don't live forever, and so I think just trying to figure out how to navigate being a support. I think it was what Andrew was coming at it with, how to be a support to those who are grieving, but also how to talk to those, believers or non-believers who have lost, and how to really be encouraging, but not give a lot of those just generic, they're in a better place now. Oh, it's okay. You know, they're not suffering anymore. And it's like a lot of those cliches that oftentimes don't necessarily help all that much. So I think that's kind of what his angle.
Okay. Yeah, I think, I mean, I'll share my story. So for me, back when I was 27, I had lost my father very unexpectedly. So he had diabetes. He suffered from diabetes for a long time, and I was out of town, and I got a call from my brother, basically saying, my father was going to the emergency room. His sugar had gotten low. It had happened a few times before, and we'd gone, and he was okay. So I got back into town and called my brother, and I'm like, hey, where did you find out from Dad? I didn't hear back from him. Is he doing all right? And he hadn't heard back. So now I'm like getting worried. And so I call the hospital, and they're like, oh, he's not here. And I'm like, what do you mean he's not here? So I call a few hospitals in the area. I'm like, where did he go? Like, why didn't you guys go with him? So I was pretty upset. And so finally St. Luke's Hospital was like, there's somebody that fits your father's description, but we need you to come down. I'm like, of course. So I go down, and he's in the ICU. He was in a diabetic coma, and basically he had his sugar had gotten so low, and he was in a coma for so long that his brain was basically completely dead.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was the healthcare proxy for my father. So I had a really, really tough decision to make. What we could do, there was really no treatment that he could get. There was no possibility of recovery. So I had to make the decision to then take my father off of life support.
Jeez.
And it was really tough. There was a lot of reflection and prayer and hope and praying to God to take this away, like to help him recover. And but that wasn't in God's plan at that time. So I decided to take him off of life support. And the hardest part for me was, I think, it's not like in the movies. Like, it's not like you take somebody off of life support and then within the next 30 seconds they're gone. It was 3 days. It took 3 days of sitting there with him every second of the day, and just knowing that this was it. Like, this was going to be the last moments that I would spend with my father, and not being able to talk to him or have him talk to me. And it was a lot of obviously a lot of reflection, a lot of time of regret, a lot of time of just sadness and hurt. But the thing that I found was kind of wild to me was that throughout all of this chaos and hurt and pain, I felt this otherworldly sense of peace. And that is completely because of my hope in God, and knowing that I knew my father was saved. I knew that there was a place for him in heaven, and I knew he was going to be made whole again. And knowing that he had struggled and suffered for a long time with multiple different ailments and with this battle with his blood sugar and diabetes, just the peace of knowing that he was never going to have to suffer like that again was just a great relief to me. And really just looking back on it, there was a lot of like, I couldn't imagine what it would be like for somebody who didn't have that hope, somebody that didn't have that hope in Jesus Christ, that they would one day be in heaven, that they would one day be made whole. I wouldn't wish that on anyone, regardless of if you were a believer or not. But I know for a fact that being a believer really pushed me through that time, really gave me the strength. God gave me the strength I needed, gave me the peace I needed to make it through that time. And it just, the verse John 20:29 just continuously was something that I leaned on, where he says, he's speaking to Thomas, Jesus says to him, because you have seen, you have believed, blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. And even though I lost my father, I did feel very blessed in that time to know that he was going to be in a better place.
Yeah.
So I can imagine what Andrew's saying when he's talking about how do you give that comfort to somebody that doesn't have that hope? You know what I mean? And how do you?
Yeah, that's tough. As you're talking, I actually had really, I'll call it an unfortunate opportunity to sit through the whole life support thing. I've talked about this before. Last year, fall 2024, we had a string of deaths of congregants in our church, and the very first one, it started with somebody's dad who went in. By the time he got to the hospital, he was already basically brain dead, like that. So they had to make that decision. And like you say, it's not like the movies. It's not like 30 seconds and it's over. And it's actually kind of strange because the range of emotions, I sat with a family. It actually did happen that day. But the range of emotions, as you see like the oxygen level drop and then go back and, the pulse drop and go back. It's like you're glued to this monitor, you know what I mean? Right. And everybody's emotions in the room kind of raise and lower with that. And it was a pretty big family, and I think maybe 9 or 10 of them were in that room and I was there as well. And I know for a fact that some were believers and some were not. Mm-hmm. And I could see a tangible difference in the way that people responded to what was happening, where you could tell with some it was total despair, and then others that had hope, knowing that their dad was a believer as well and that he was going to the arms of the Lord. And so, that's very real. And that's usually a demarcation line as far as how people are able to get through the grieving process. And to answer your question, as far as like, what do you say? It's almost an invitation to believe. It almost becomes an invitation to think about maybe things that they don't want to think about, which is what happens after this life, and where ultimately is your hope. It can't be in this life, because just their own reaction, their own actions, very normal and natural actions of grieving and despair and, oh my gosh, where are they going and where will they be? Will they be okay? And all these things. It opens them up to start having to ponder and question these things, and really the weight of it really comes right down to them. So I think in a very loving and inviting way, it can be an invitation to start considering these things. At the very least, though, you're just there as a rock and a support, and if they want to be prayed for, you pray. And if they want silence, there's silence. And if they want to talk, you talk, and just at the very least, you're there to, offer condolences and just be present. For me in that situation, honestly, I was getting like drinks and water and tissues for people. I just felt like I needed to serve. It wasn't my father who was passing. I had very little connection to anybody except one of the congregants. And so I just felt, okay, in this area, I saw somebody crying. I brought them tissues. I saw somebody who wanted water. I went to the nurse's station, got water,
I think that's huge. I think a lot of times when people are grieving, I think we feel the need that we need to contribute, or that we need to kind of like help them through the grief by either saying something or doing something. And it's really, I think, the best way that you can show them that you're there is just by being there and just offering any support that they need. You don't need to say they're in a better place. You don't need to say God has a plan. These are a lot of things that, people already know or have heard, and sometimes it's not super helpful. So I think just kind of being there and offering to serve and just being that stable force that's just like a support that's just there to listen, to hear, to a shoulder to cry on. I think it's one of the best ways that you can just support them, because, you know, there's some situations are so deeply hurtful, so traumatic, so out of the blue. There is no real consolation. There's nothing that you could say to make the situation better. But just being there to hug or to cry or to, you know, be there, I think is huge. And so you don't always have to say something. It's okay to just be.
Yeah. Because I really felt it when you sent the message, and I saw the thing that Andrew kind of was struggling with is like if you work with somebody or know somebody that's not a believer, and like the cliche that he said is, oh, they're in a better place now, they're made whole and all that. But if you don't actually know that to be true, do you say that? I think what you're saying is even a better action. You don't have to say anything. You know what I mean? Just show that you actually care and that you're supporting by what it is that you do.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily our place to say who is or isn't in a better place now, you know, and I don't think the proper time to get into that is when somebody says, you know, my dad died, and you know that, you know, his lifestyle wasn't one that reflected salvation or a relationship with Jesus. That's not the place to say, no, he's not in a better place. You know? Yeah. It's not the time or the place. You're not really going to win a soul. You're not going to really cross that bridge. But like Ken said, you can engage in that dialogue and find a transition point to bring it in. So what does that mean for you? What is a better place for you? And have you thought about where you're going, you know, when your days are...
It's sensitive for sure, and I think what happens is that you don't have to even bring it. It's like they're already open because of what's happening. It's like the two things that deaths do is they bring families together, and they also get you to really question your own mortality. You know, those are two things, bar none, that always happen when there's a death and a funeral and things like that. So I think they're already kind of open, and they're already, even if they don't have like a conviction type of belief, they're already kind of like, God. You know, God, why? Or where is God? Right. Or how can I find God in this? They reach to God. Normally, just anytime our mortality is in question, we just innately kind of reach to something bigger than ourselves and that greater power of God. So I think it becomes an open door, but one that you have to be very careful about opening, just because you don't want to force it open and you don't want to put something that's not there. They have to just kind of be open to it. And like I said, there's almost a natural invite that happens, but you just have to be very sensitive and remember it's not about your agenda. It's really about just how can you be there for that person in comfort. And then, God willing, yes, if that door opens, take it. You know what I mean? And be a witness and allow something, you know, good and glorifying to God happen through what's otherwise, you know, a terrible thing and a point of grief.
Yeah, and I would say don't like just leave it there. Don't just leave it there with the door open. Follow through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Continue. If this person is looking to you for comfort, looking for the answer, and you start to give them that answer in whatever way it is, like you said, I wouldn't force that door open, but if you start to give that road to Christ, then don't just walk away, continue and help them along that journey. Don't just make it through the funeral and say, all right, that's it. We'll catch you on the next one.
And I think we're always like thinking about that moment, but I think the greater help and the greater service comes afterwards, where, you know, what a testimony it is and what a comfort it is to like check in with a person like a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, not to bother them, you know, and certainly not to overwhelm them, but when the time seems appropriate, just to say, hey, I was thinking about you, and I'm here for you. If you ever want to talk, you know, about, you know, what happened, and, you know, you just ever want to spend time, can I take you to coffee? You know, at church, we do like a meal train, you know what I mean? We try to meet people right where they're at, and we know, okay, it's a mess, you know, families, you know, all over the place, and so they're not even thinking about what to do for dinner. So let's at least take that load off of them, and we'll provide a meal train for them for the next week or whatever it is, you know. So I think just the follow up and the follow through is probably equally, as if not more important than just the moment that it happens.
For sure.
Because that becomes like just a living witness, you know, and a consistent testimony where maybe that is a way to ultimate comfort into their own salvation if they're not.
Yeah, and I think that's like, showing over the long term that, you're taking on the posture of a servant, the posture of Christ, to just be there and to serve them. And I think when the initial impact of a loss happens, everybody kind of rushes to offer condolences and to offer help. But where's that steady? Because, that person lives with grief for years, So where's that steady kind of pillar that's holding them up when it reaches some of those heavy moments? First Christmas with an empty seat at the table. First Thanksgiving where they used to do the toast every year. Now they're not there. They used to cut the turkey. They're not cutting the turkey, their birthday, anniversary. I mean, there's so many different things, maybe there was a special party they hosted. It's the line never ends in terms of reminders of the grief and the loss. So just being there to just randomly check in and say, hey, just thinking about you, I know, I just wanted to be here and let you know that I'm here for you. That testimony and that witness is huge.
Yeah.
If I could just add on to that too, I think in having that relationship is, I think ultimately the person is going to want to and need to talk about it, but they're not going to know how.
For sure.
So I think also being there is just another way that you can, again, not force them or compel them, but just be there so that maybe just naturally and organically they can start talking about how they've been dealing with the loss and what it means and how they've been, because people don't want to talk about it. They don't know how to talk about it. They don't know who to talk about it with oftentimes. And so they're just saddled with this grief, and they just kind of like slowly implode from the inside out, unless they have that real positive, trusted, loving person that has no agenda, just to be there, just to kind of receive and receive and receive. So that's also really important when you're helping somebody grieve.
So when we're talking about right now, we're talking about the holiday season. We're really in the thick of it right now as this episode is released. And so as we talk about that, how do you think, what's some good practical tips that you can give people that are grieving or trying to be there for somebody that's grieving during this holiday season? Because like Daniel said, there's an empty seat at the table for the first time.
Yeah, and I don't really have a good answer to that, I'm going to be honest, only because like when I think about and some of the people that we lost last year, it was right around the holidays, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know how people are able to recover from that or how that plays out, just because I've never experienced it myself, but I can only imagine that it's just that holiday just becomes that eternal reminder.
Salt on the wound.
You know what I mean? And so I'm not sure how, people recover. And that was going to be actually my next question is if we're bringing it kind of more to the holidays, is like, how do people do that? Like, really, honestly, like, is Christmas ever the same again? Is Thanksgiving ever the same again? If they were those, like Hallmark dates, when the family got together and like you said, the person who did the toast or the person that carved the turkey or whatever, that's got to be hard. That's got to be really hard just to kind of go from season to season and annually have to live that again.
Well, Josh, you just shared your experience losing your father. I mean, can you talk about what that was like for you?
Yeah, so the first thing I'll say is I think what is important, and it goes back to what both you, Daniel, and Ken were speaking about, is what was very helpful is I did have a lot of friends and family members that would open their door, open their home for me.
Can I just ask real quick? Was it a holiday season?
No,
okay.
It was
checking.
It was in the spring.
Okay.
So not too many holidays. Not too many holidays around that time. So
President's Day, real rough President's Day.
It was a tough Memorial Day weekend. But no, so I think being there and just opening, not necessarily just to be there to bring food to somebody, but to open up your entire home to somebody, to let them. Sometimes you just got to get out of the funk that you're in. And how those four walls in your home, especially when you're feeling down, when you're feeling depressed, how those can just really trap you for a while. Yeah, and they cave in on you, and you won't choose to do anything else. So I think having people that would open up their home and open up their hearts to me was very helpful in that time. And I think just a big difference was kind of just accepting the fact that, yeah, he's not here anymore. So, well, we just went through Thanksgiving. Guess who started making the turkey? You know what I mean? I took on that mantle of, okay, this is what my father did. I'm going to continue in that tradition. Now I'm gonna be the man that cooks this turkey every year. So since then, I've cooked the turkey every year, and I love it. I love cooking the turkey. But it's real because you go through it, and it's hard. The first few times, the first couple Thanksgivings were tough, but now it's just become really something that I love to do because I get to now provide for everybody that comes to me. Yeah. And I get to be the one that is bringing the bird to Thanksgiving or whatever, if I'm cooking on Christmas or things like that. So to me, that it's these traditions that you've built throughout your lifetime. When you lose somebody that you love that has been a part of that tradition, it's not necessarily letting that tradition die, but you can now make it into something else that's now your position, your tradition. You can take the mantle on something like that. Yeah,
you memorialize that person in the way that you carry on their legacy, right? And you remember them in those times, but also carry it with you as you go. And Ken, your question, like, I don't know how you get through it, right? It's I think nobody really knows how you get through it. I think when you're just put in that situation, you just somehow get through it. And the first few are probably, that first one is got to be excruciating. If it was around the holiday, has to be excruciating. But we know that especially for a lot of those who suffered in our church, and that's who I'm just thinking of, they did get through it. And, every day they just took it one day at a time and just continued to walk it out. And there were some days it didn't feel like they were going to be able to get through it. But, I see them on Sunday and they're there. And it's for a lot of them, they're approached or are approaching the 1 year mark of this loss. And, seeing sort of the cycle of grief in their life. I think as believers, it's definitely encouraging because for some of them, it was a really hard loss. And to see where they are now, only a short year, but in their faith journey, and where they've been able to walk with God through this grief process and really come to terms with a lot and live with so much more intention now because they realize that the fragility of life. I think it's been encouraging for me. I haven't really suffered much loss. I still have all 4 grandparents. I had 3 great grandparents a lot of my up until almost my teenage years. Like it wasn't I have the fortunate opportunity to not have experienced a lot of loss, so to kind of see it on display in the lives of those around us, it's been encouraging. And it's kind of I've been able to learn through proxy of seeing how they've gotten through the grief. And I think it's just something that you don't want to go through, you don't ever want to go through, but you will, and you'll make it out, especially when you have a godly community around you of people who you can really lean on. I think that makes it a whole lot easier for people who don't have that hope and that assurance and who don't have a healthy community around them. You can see why the suicide rates are so high. Yeah, is all I'll say. Sure.
And I'll say too, I think everybody grieves differently. And I think what we have to be mindful of is that if you are maybe doing something for the holidays, and if you're grieving and it's too much for you to handle, like it's too overwhelming for you to partake in whatever that is, I think it's okay for you to opt out of that and just choose this I'm not ready for this. Sure. And then if you're on the other end, if you're the person that's trying to be supportive, maybe you are the person that's opening up your home for something during this time, just understand that even though this person might not want to partake in what it is that you're opening your home for, or you're opening your time for. Just don't take it as a negative. Don't take it as like a slight against you or anything like that. Just be mindful that everybody is grieving differently, and even though I'm more of an active, like I'd rather just get my mind off of it and just move forward and just continue to press on. There's some people that they are more in depth and need more time to just kind of be alone and process their thoughts and work through it on their own. So don't close that door, even though they're maybe not choosing to participate in whatever activity you have. Don't close that door and turn away from that person. Just continue to just understand that they might have to grieve in a different way that you and I might. Yeah,
and I think the holidays, if you're somebody who is looking to comfort people, the holidays become a great opportunity there.
That's right.
Because just to be able to open your door, to somebody who maybe, their family's not getting together, or maybe because they just experienced loss, there's a part that's missing from them, and so what an opportunity to include somebody in your family's tradition and your family gathering. And that's something that we always, kind of look forward to Christmas, to do is if there is, whether it be students, who aren't near family, because that could be a grieving process too, or just people that are alone, just, hey, come by, come through, let's have dinner together, and so I think that's a great, not necessarily an answer to Andrew's question, but possibly a good solution or a good way to help somebody through the grieving process in the holidays.
Yeah, and I think part of Andrew's question too, I think, is just be prayerful on that too. Like, go to God and seek discernment over the situation, because I know it's an uncomfortable process to go through with somebody where they're grieving, and you want to say the right thing. You're kind of on eggshells a little bit, where you don't want to really make it worse, but you also don't want to, you know what I mean? You don't want to inflate it that it's all sunshines and rainbows. So I think going to God for discernment on how to navigate the situation with the particular person can be very key in these grieving moments.
I know a preacher who preached on patience recently, and
what a guy!
I think I think it's important, because like that process of grief, it's sometimes all over the place, man. It's a roller coaster ride. There's going to be moments where the person feels really good, and then one moment to the next, there's like a trigger point that's just boom, and then they crash, and it's like. It could be years later, just could be one certain reminder, a smell in the mall, even something so small like that could just just bring them back to a moment that was special that they had with that person. And I think we have to be patient, because it can sometimes probably be easy too to be like, seriously,
that was like 10 years ago.
Whatever, I sat with my grandmother the other day. My grandmother's like 85 years old, and she was just reminiscing on stories and talking about her parents, and she broke down crying, saying how much she misses them. Yeah. She lost them almost 40 years ago. She lost her parents maybe 30 years ago or so. But nonetheless, I mean, so grief it sticks with you, and sometimes it's a cycle. And I think for those of us who are in supportive roles during that time, it's being patient, being understanding, being loving, and being just a comfort. Be prayerful about how you can just serve that person and just be there. And you don't have to say something to be there. You can just be there and listen. And that's coming from somebody who talks more than they listen. Yeah. I have to learn that myself.
That's it's actually a really good point that grief can continue on throughout the years, because there's times that I'll still think like my father never got to meet my son. To me, that's heartbreaking, because my son is the bomb, dude. Yeah. So
he is, dude. He's a legend, that kid.
I know that. I just know how well they would have gotten along, and how great and how proud my father would be of him, and thinking of those things is sad. You know what I mean?
Of course.
It hurts. And it's hard. Even now, dude, it's hard not to tear up about it. Mm-hmm. But what happens is I think when I think about how much it hurts. I think it just means how much I was loved or how much love I had in this relationship. And I think that really means a lot to me, knowing that how much I cared and loved my father, like, has continued, like, to have these ripples in my life, like as things happen, or as I come across things, or we'll be in church singing and it'll just hit me. I'm like, damn, I miss my boy. You know what I mean? So you're right, Daniel. It sticks with you. It can stick with you for 30 however many years,
lifetime.
You know what I mean? So it can be.
I'll tell you. I think that an important component, as far as that, like especially the long-term grief, because when you lose somebody, it's not, the person's not replaceable, obviously. So it's not like you're ever going to get like this thing in return. You know what I mean? That will fill that void. But I think that's where the hope of God and our faith comes in. So I'll tell you that my first ever funeral I was asked to like preside over was somebody who I'd never met, who had overdosed, and I was just asked to do it on behalf of the mom, who was one of our congregants. And so I had to walk into that, and I need to comfort this family. I had no idea of his belief or his salvation, status of salvation. I had to walk into that and comfort this family, most of whom I've never met, and then give a eulogy that somehow would bring people to a hope that comes after this life. And so, that was just like, I had to go into that cold, So what's my focus? Well, I can't focus on the person. I didn't have any emotional connection with them whatsoever, and I didn't know anything about them to help in my eulogy. I only know the mom. And so what do I have to do? I have to bring them to Jesus somehow. And I think ultimately, without being pretentious or forceful, I think that's, what are the overtones of what we say. And like Daniel said, just having the posture of Jesus, and if it's just being present, then it's being present. But somehow we need to bring people, to Jesus. Why? Well, because ultimately, that's the only hope after death in this life is him. And sometimes I think that, as hard as death is to deal with and grief, I think, and obviously it came because of sin and all that. We weren't created to die like that. But I think God in his mercy, allows some of that sting to remind us that we don't belong to this world, and that we should not cling to the things of this world. Yeah. And I think I've seen that over and over and over again as I've done eulogies for people and, presided over funerals, is that ultimately is the message, is that as much as, even the people that we love so much in this life and they're so dear to us, family members, fathers, mothers, children, they're ultimately not the ultimate hope that we have. As great as they are, there's a hope greater than that, you know what I mean, that takes us beyond this life. And so that sting of death sometimes can make us say, you know what, man, I really, this world is not for me. You know what I mean? It's not to be clung to. There's a greater hope that we have, that because we will live on after this life. Yeah. And that's the hope I need to cling to. And so I think it's also important if we can do so in a loving way, again, not pretentious and forceful, but if we can lovingly bring people to understand that ultimately that's where their hope. And that's what I had to do in that moment, because I had nothing else. Yeah. I had no emotional connection whatsoever. Nothing I could say. Ultimately, there's no redemption I could give this person's life. So where do I go from there? You have to go to the only hope that we have, which is in God.
I think I'm just going to read a verse real quick. An encouraging verse comes out of 2 Corinthians 1. All praise to God the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. God is our merciful Father and the source of all comfort. He comforts us all in our troubles so that we can comfort others. When they are troubled, we will be able to give them the same comfort God has given us.
Amen.
So the beauty of it is, and it's the same thing, that we often say about God, why God saves you. God doesn't save you for you. He saves you for his kingdom and what you can do for his kingdom and for others. And when we go through troubles, the Holy Spirit is our comforter, and he comforts us, but doesn't just comfort us for our own pleasure or good. He comforts us so that way we can also comfort others. So in the loss of your dad, you can really act as a source of comfort for those others around you who haven't lost their dad yet, but one day are gonna. And you can speak on that, and you can be a source of comfort for them and act as the hands and the feet of Jesus on this earth as you're called to be in their lives. So I think that's important too, is like as you grieve and as we struggle and as we toil in this life that we know is not always one of great luxury or just the good times. You know, we do suffer in this world.
Yeah.
There is suffering, there's trouble, there's hardship, but we know that, you know, there's comfort in Jesus Christ. He's our hope, he's our assurance, he's our peace. And then we get to carry that hope, assurance, and peace in the form of the gospel to others around us as well.
Yeah. There's the other side of grief. It's when you get past that grief, and when you get to that side, that I think there's some really good things there, because I think going through that period in my life, I think when I came out from that grief, I've realized looking back that God had given me so many tools in that time. Like, even though it was the hardest thing I've gone through in my life, I think he had used that to prepare me for so many other things that had come up in my life. He'd given me so many attributes from that. So how can I say, even though this is a terrible thing that happened, God still made something good out of this terrible thing? You know what I mean? And I still have so much joy in my heart for the times that I got to spend with my father, and to look back now and when I do have memories, or when I do things, I'm like, damn, I'm turning into my dad. Dude, like, I'm like, it's just wild, and like, it just fills my heart with such joy. So there is, even though you can feel like you're in this pit, you can feel like you're in this black hole, I'm telling you, when you finally get out of that, God really can fill your heart with so much good and so much joy and so much reverence over the good times that you had, and it's just unexplainable.
Yeah, no doubt. How about Booth Boys? Booth Boys, what's your perspective on this?
I've been trying to kind of find clarity throughout this whole episode, and you know, like I told Josh, I think today, that I didn't really have anybody I lost, but like my aunt, the whole thing with my aunt 3 years ago, before I was saved, my dad was, you know, I could just tell he was in a really dark spot, and there was a money issue in my family and a big falling out because of family members' loss because of an estate sale. And there's been a lot of that in my family, a lot of brokenness, and you know, that whole process reminded me of showing God's love, because I have never really been like in a vocal position in my family to try to change them all to Christianity yet. But I feel like God is pushing me into that season. So like, as far as grieving over loved ones, I feel like in that moment I was more connected with my father, because I had given him space and I had said, hey Dad, I'm here for you. I love you. I heard about what happened. And then from there, like a week later after that happened, he messaged me back and was like, he's like, hey, just wanted to say what's up. And I was like, oh, I was actually just about to message you to check in with you. So I think like, because of the lack of connection me and my father had in a long period of my life, that grieving that he had being out of faith and me just coming into my faith, I kind of feel like maybe I'm going off the rails a little bit right now, but being a Christian, showing love will show the Father's love through the love that you give to others. So that can bring somebody to Christianity, and that's a process that I've kind of molding for my family in the future.
100%.
Yeah.
What about you, Spence?
Yeah, no, I think you guys said a lot of good things. Yeah, I've had I guess my fair share of loss and family members and things. But I think one thing that I'm thinking of that could hopefully be encouraging to people who are grieving, in a way that we could maybe honor the memory and legacy of that loved one, is to go out and love somebody else like you would love that person if they were here.
That's good. That's real good.
Damn, Spence. You say some good stuff.
That's really good.
It's never when you're on the couch, though. Something about the booth.
Wow, dude, that's kind of big. You said you were trash last episode.
It's 2 episodes ago now.
2 episodes ago.
I'm just kidding.
That was really good. That was good.
Good job, Spence. What about you, Johnny?
I think it's like I've experienced the loss in the past like year, both grandparents. So I think it's tough when it's like obviously my grandparents, it's tough losing them, but then seeing how my mom was, like obviously she's gonna be a lot closer to her parents than I am as a grandchild. So I think it's just like it's seeing her break down, and it's like you look up to your parent as like a leader and as like someone who's like doesn't have to be stoic, but like you want your parent to be a stoic person, and so like seeing them break down and seeing her crying and stuff, and it's just like a new perspective to see how life is, like how quickly life comes and goes.
Yeah,
that's so true. Point. That's so true.
Yeah, but just because you are the child does not mean you cannot be supportive for that parent. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and obviously having firsthand knowledge and experience of that, my father passed when I was real young, so that was kind of a different kind of grieving process. That one was several years of very kind of subconscious grieving, and then you deal with it as a teen and things like that. My mom's still alive, but seeing my in-laws both die, it actually it really kind of hit me that just the levels and the cycles of life, and it's almost like, wow, up next, you know what I mean?
The batting order.
I don't say that in a morbid way. It's kind of hits you as a reality. When you're, when your children become of a certain age where they're adults, and then your parents or, the people of that age are passing. It's like, you just know that. It's like everybody's leveling up in this way, and it doesn't make me scared or morbid. It's just it's like kind of a reality check.
It's like a sobering.
It's a sober reality check of how quick this life is. How this life is really the vapor that the scripture says that it is, and it's like, wow, next level is my children probably is mourning me, and it's just like, whoa, wow. That hits you like a ton of bricks.
Did you have a midlife crisis? Did you buy the red convertible?
I bought a motorcycle, dude.
You did?
He bought a motorcycle. He wears his chaps everywhere. Do you forget?
That wasn't a midlife crisis.
Rhymes with smassless.
That wasn't a midlife crisis.
No, dude. God already told me you're going to live to 140 and serve in ministry till 100. So
okay, great.
I'm proud.
Perfect.
I'm proud to tell you that today.
Awesome.
Do you have a KTT?
Yeah, there's a couple verses that have been, in my head, and if we cue up that music, then we can begin.
Jake?
Jake, cue music.
Don't actually cue the music, Jake.
So when Jesus was approaching the end of his earthly life before the crucifixion and the resurrection, he's really preparing the disciples for this moment, and I see it, even though it was only 3 days, I see it kind of as a microcosm, of this whole, death and rebirth experience, where in John 16:22, he says, also, you have sorrow now, but I will see you again, and your hearts will rejoice, and no one will take your joy from you. And another shorter verse where he says, for a little while, you won't see me, but then you will see me again. And so ultimately, I kind of alluded to it before, but our hope has to be in Jesus, especially if you want to see your loved ones again. Because, just as Jesus said, you're sorrowful now, but I will see you again. There's this hope that there's a life after this one.
That's right.
And that when our eyes close and the casket closes, that there is a moment that we'll open our eyes again and we are continuing to live. And I think my favorite verse when it comes to that is Revelation 21:4, this promise of Jesus, where he says, he'll wipe every tear from their eyes. Death shall be no more. Neither shall be mourning, nor crying, nor pain, for the former things have passed away, and the new order has come. And that new order is his kingdom, which is one of eternity, an eternal life. And so there will come a time where we won't experience these things anymore. And so our hope has to be there. And if we can live that hope, and if we can communicate that hope, I think that's the best thing that we can do while we're here, to people who are mourning and people who are in despair. I mean, the contrast in funerals, if you've ever been to one where it's people that don't have the hope of God versus the hope of the people that do have the hope of God, could not be any more different. It could not be any more of a stark contrast, because you see absolute despair and terror at some of these funerals that people are just beside themselves, just pounding the floor, weeping, versus not to say that they don't cry at a believer's funeral, but there's a sense where there's a lot of people that have faith at that funeral, and they know that the person who passed had faith. There is a security and a hope that this is not the final say, that death did not have the final say, and that they will indeed see them again. And sometimes that becomes more of even a celebration of their life, more than just the mourning part. And so your hope has to be in Jesus no matter what. And if it's there, then we can be assured that we will see each other again even after this life fades. So
yeah, that's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Daniel, you got any last word?
That was beautiful.
You got no DTT?
No. We discovered the real acronym of a DTT, and we were a little freaked out. So I won't share mine.
All right.
But you can find us where, Josh?
Well, you
only an hour and 2 minutes in, but
so it's an hour and 2 minutes in. You can find us on social media at NSFS Podcast. You can go on there, like, review, subscribe. If you do go on and you leave a comment, leave your name, we'll give you a shout out. Or if we know who you are, we'll give you a shout out. I think we had a couple.
What was that?
So watch yourselves in those comments.
Listen, Spencer's really upset with some of you people, and I understand it. I feel it. We're getting attacked in the comment section, Spencer. We're the bad boys of the bad boys of the podcast.
Everybody needs them. Everybody needs them.
The
boys in blue.
Do we want to shout out some commenters, Ken?
Oh man, what?
Oh man, where do we
start?
start?
Well, first of all, we got the whole DePina.
Yeah, we got the whole
DePina clan, man.
Yeah.
Jordan, Brandon,
DePina
Derek,
gang coming up big.
coming in hot in the comments. Jordan kind of gets like a semi-pass because he just commented because his brothers commented. So we'll throw him in there.
I like Jordan. Jordan's a good kid.
Jordan is a good kid. I love him,
Good
but
kid.
don't tell
Great
him
kid.
that. He'll get a big head. But
Who else do we get? Any new ones?
Manny Coelho.
Oh, Manny Coelho with the
checking
thumbs
in.
up.
Coelho. We had
Thumbs up the wrong comment, but we'll let that slide.
His lovely wife Erica chiming in.
Yeah,
She's a regular.
She has become a regular. Yeah,
we love her.
She's looking for her own podcast, I think.
Yeah.
She's chomping at the bit.
Hey, you know what? I mean, that might be our first spinoff, our first produced podcast, NSFS produced podcast.
$19.95 a month. It's all hers.
Who else we got?
We had Sean Caravana,
Sean
right?
Caravana.
Wasn't that his first?
Yep.
Shouting out to Jake.
We had
Jake, enough, dude. We got to figure it out.
I know on a recent honey chipotle chicken tender review. Let's see, who was that? Hannah Grace Beautiful. She said that Spencer's review was an L. So I don't know if you want to speak back to that, Spencer.
I do.
Be careful.
I would
Be
like
careful in what you're gonna say.
Now,
Double down, dude.
Has she ever had a boneless chicken wing before?
Well, no, Spencer. As you already know, she has celiac and eats gluten free. So
Oh, okay.
Drop a boo in the comment for those gluten freaks.
so she has to have
really
the bone in.
So she really wouldn't know then.
That's one perspective.
I'm with Spence on this one.
I will say, being married to a woman with celiac disease.
Oh yeah, Josh, get right back
The
here.
cabin
no.
in Middleborough does a good gluten-free boneless tender.
We've been.
These gluten
We've
freaks,
been.
dude, are weak. They're weak.
They're
Only the strong will survive, dude. I'm Darwin. Darwin's
all right. Well,
survival of the fittest.
how about this? I will say this: that our man Volkerin, who I remembered who it was. I won't say it publicly because I don't think he would appreciate it. But I was talking to him actually this past Sunday, and he has celiac.
Oh.
Okay, and so he told me this traumatizing story about how they had like something catered at his job, and it was that the meat was actually Beyond Meat.
Yeah.
And he didn't know it.
Yeah.
And that's all like soy and gluten filled. It's like all kind of, and he was literally vomiting into his coat on his ride home because he was so sick. He had to leave work. Projectile vomiting everywhere, and then like into his coat so he didn't destroy his car on the way home. So, respect the celiac, all right? They go through a lot.
Survival of the fittest.
You know what happens a lot lately is they lump the gluten-free and like the vegan and all that stuff together. So it's like you got the regular person's meal, then you got the gluten-free, vegan, soy-free meal.
Yeah.
So
it just becomes more and more tasteless, as it goes.
Just trash. Just trash.
Just give them some cardboard to suck on and call it a day, dude.
So, by the way, keep the reviews coming, though. The reviews just get great engagement on social media. So for those of us here, obviously,
donut reviews.
But then, the international donut reviews, which is a new trend.
Yeah, like that.
I mean, bring it. Keep it coming.
I'm loving those. Loving the international.
Can we get a flavored oxygen review if somebody travels over to Europe one day? Go look into the flavored oxygen bars.
What?
I don't even know how to respond.
That's
why we love you, Jake.
All you can do is turn your head.
Relaxation Music 970. If you're ever in Europe,
please.
Know.
I'll sponsor you for that oxygen bar.
All right. Well, I think we've gone off the rails enough. So we hope that we do hope that during this holiday season you have an opportunity. If you are grieving, we hope that this episode really has touched your heart, and like we've said, I mean, the hope's in Christ. So we hope that you can find him, because he's definitely seeking you. So, and if you are somebody that is trying to help somebody through grief, just do it with patience, like Daniel said.
Or
before.
do it with love and peace.
Nah, do it with peace and love, dude.
Do it with taters.
Do it with
Dude, you would bring in taters.
Do it with taters.
Your Christmas potato. It all comes full circle with you.
Goodbye.
Hey, join us for our Secret Santa episode next time.
Join us next time.
It's going to be crazy.
Good times.
Do it with taters.
The Not Safe for Sunday podcast is recorded in the loft. Our production team is Spencer Berriman, Jacob McCall, and John Walsh. You can find us on social media at NSFS Podcast. If you'd like to join us for a Sunday service, you can find us at Conquerors for Christ Church, located at 972 Reed Road in North Dartmouth, Massachusetts.